Have you ever heard of the Matrix?
In the year 2145, man's creation of artificial intelligence in machines has led to a machine uprising and the end of the dominancy of the human species. The machines feed off of humans as a battery of sorts. To get the most potential energy out of the humans, the machines keep them pacified in an artificial world known as the Matrix. The Matrix is modeled after the world as it was in the 1990s. In an attempt to remove any evidence of past human culture that the machines could use to fool more humans in the future, efforts were put forth to destroy influential pieces of art, literature, cinema, music, and architecture. To accomplish this feat, a select few survivors were chosen to learn as much as possible about the culture of the 1990s, so that they could discern what was important enough to be destroyed. Cinema, art, and music were the most important targets, as decided by the all-knowing, yet completely liberally biased Oracle. The responsibility to destroy this information was reserved for the highly experienced Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus.
Now is the best time to infiltrate the Matrix and delete those files dearest to us before the machines defile them.
Yes, but we do not have the time to get everything, so we got to get the most important things and get them before the machine sends agents to stop us.
Yes, the most important. We should upload some information about the arts of the 90s to ourselves before we go.
Mouse, how quickly do you think that you can make a few programs to upload the information of the arts of the 90s for us?
Pretty quick. I can cross-reference the information that I have in the 90s, but it'll take me only about a week.
Alright, in a few weeks we will simultaneously enter the Matrix. Trinity, you will take out the art of the era. You will go after paintings, sculptures, artists, the like. Morpheus, you'll take down the films of the era. Directors, actors. Make sure you know why they're important so that you get the most valuable information out of the Matrix. I will take it upon myself to destroy the music of the era, the composers, things like that. We all know this will be the most difficult task, and I will take it upon myself because I am the one.
Good. Let's get started right away.
Alright, we're in.
It's about freaking time!
It's a long, hard process, Neo.
Mouse, what's the first program on the list?
Well, the art one's ready right now.
That means you, Trinity.
Mouse, can you jack me in right now?
Anytime.
Good luck.
Pay attention. This could be the most important mission we have ever embarked on.
No pressure or anything.
None at all.
Welcome to the art program. I'm a simulation of mouse and we'll be teaching about the art of the 1990s. A very interesting subject indeed.
Cool. Where do we begin?
Well, in the 1990s, the increased popularity and the use of the web and the dot-com boom made the art world become increasingly commercialized. Artists used the everyday objects and the people around them to create their masterpieces. Art was widely used in advertising for the first time. For example, Barbara Kruger's art look was used in the Smirnoff vodka ad. Art began to criticize the fact that neo-Marxist ideals in America were blurring the lines between reality and media imagery. This criticism of the commercial, media-focused world that America had become ruled the decade. However, other types of art were also popular.
Habla.
Flashlight.
Team check.
Mikey.
Bien, bien.
Sandy.
You lose!
What other types of art were there?
Well, in the 1990s, photography became an art form in its own right. Record prices were paid for photographs by people such as Thomas Truth and Andreas Gursky, like this photograph here of the stock market. Also, during the 1980s, many issues frustrated Americans that continued in the 1990s. These issues were both politically and morally disputed. Because of the lingering unresolved issues, artists began to express their minds and disapproval of the government's actions, or in this case, inactions about these issues. One of these issues, abortions, had been and remained a controversial issue. The fire for debate was stoked by the FDA's approval of new options for women to control their own fertility. As mentioned by one of Barbara Kruger's photos, anti-abortion leaders were primarily men who would never be pregnant. The efforts of artists were focused on the issues of homelessness, AIDS, homosexual rights, domestic violence, racism, and protection of the environment.
Tell me more about the art that was inspired by the women's movements.
Well, Barbara Kruger also made art that was sarcastic about the attitude she felt many people had towards women and their roles in society.
Let's hit up some domestic violence.
Well, on Capitol Hill, Clarence Thomas was going to be a Supreme Court judge, but Anita Hill, a former aide, came forward claiming he sexually abused her. This made sexual harassment into a popular discussion topic among common Americans. After this incident, Cindy Sherman was inspired to craft mannequin dolls in sexual situations and take pictures of them in front of colorful backgrounds. These photos were intended to bring attention to their form of domestic violence and women's rights.
To the fight against the machines.
To Trinity!
Wow, that Cindy lady sure got her point across.
Yeah, for sure. Another woman trying to get her point across was Sue Williams. This artist was inspired by the anti-sexual violence movement. By using scroll/paintings, aka paintings with swirls, to get her protest across that sexual abuse was bad.
Seems pretty effective.
Of course. Also, the AIDS scare of the 80s inspired Fred Tomaselli to make collages including various kinds of over-the-counter prescription drugs, as well as many hallucinogens and psychedelics in tamper-proof resin. He was inspired by his friend's experience with AIDS.
So far, I should be looking for stuff by Barbara Kruger, Kruger herself, Cindy Sherman and her dolls, Fred Tomaselli, and Andreas Gursky.
Well, that's about it.
Thanks, Mouse.
This is the end of your art training program. Good luck against your fight against the machines.
I bet you one alligator.
No, I had a turtle shell.
A turtle shell. Now this is getting interesting.
Hey, Trinity! Not enough time!
We still need training.
What good is training if the machines kill us?
Good as living under the oppression of the machines.
Let's ask Trinity.
Ask Trinity what?
Well, Neo seems to believe that Mouse's programs aren't necessary and that we should just destroy based on judgment with no research.
Fine, I'll go. Let's jack me into the music program. Mouse, can you set it up?
Okay, hold on. Alright, we're good. Welcome to the music simulation program. I'm a simulation of Mouse and will be guiding you through the music of the 1990s.
What's first?
A comprehensive overview of the music of the 1990s, where the changes in social climate created new types of music. We will go through each of these genres and talk about how society affected them, how they affected society, and specific songs and artists.
What were these genres?
One of the most influential genres that emerged in the 1980s and continued in the 1990s was rap. Rap and hip-hop sparked controversy between the younger and older generations because of violent lyrics. In the 90s, rap had become a popular and mainstream music genre, as opposed to rap of the 1970s, which was just listened to by the young black demographic. Some rap was inspired by the Rodney King incident in 1991 and the ensuing violence and riots on the streets.
So, how did rap affect the people of the 1990s?
Rap led to violence in many cases and a culture clash between parents and their children due to controversy over the music. Rap promoted gang violence, drug use, and sexual relations outside of marriage. A prime example of rap-promoted violence came with the murders of rappers like Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac by shooting. This occurred as a climax of rivalry with other rappers.
What kind of people were listening to this music?
Yeah, generally, young rebellious people were listening to this.
Race?
Blacks and whites.
So, how did they get their hands on this music?
Rap and the emerging techno would play a large role in underground nightclubs.
So, I'm supposed to be taking out the most important musicians, rappers, songs, records, etc. What would you say were some of the more popular people and songs of the era?
Well, as far as rap is concerned, the most popular rappers of the era were MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, who you should definitely kill, Wu-Tang Clan, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Run DMC, The Beastie Boys, Eminem, and Arrested Development.
That's an awesome show.
Arrested Development.
What? Never mind, continue.
Okay, so as far as important rap songs and albums in the 90s, the band Public Enemy came out with the album called Fear of a Black Planet, which was the top album of the year for rap, so destroying that will be essential to your mission. The top rap song in the 90s was The Massacre, The Message, which was by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Both the top rap album and the top rap song in the 90s talked about racial differences and ghettos and would fuel those problems like drugs and prostitution.
Okay, so that's good for rap?
Well, everything I just described to you was known as West Coast rap. On the East Coast rap was more inspired by black history and thought, and less violence and drug use. There was a rising tension between these two types of rap, which eventually is what led to the murder of Tupac and Biggie Smalls.
Call it piece of shit.
Alright, now we're done with rap?
Yeah, that's about it. Now we'll move on to rock and roll. In the 90s, rap was the main new type of music, but rock was the most popular genre of music listened to by the largest variety of people. This is largely a result of the fact that rock had simply been around for 40 years or so already.
So what type of people specifically listened to rock in the 90s?
Well, rock was big with the younger generation, but since it had been around longer, it was popular with the older generation. Remember, Woodstock was in the 60s.
Gotcha.
In this era, rock defined individuality. What I mean is this: if you ask 20 different people what their definition of rock is, they would probably give you 20 different answers. Rock came from a lot of different places. Band REM used America's music heritage in a mixed country, R&B, and jazz.
So, when I go into the Matrix, what should I be looking for as far as targets to take out?
Important bands in the 1990s were REM, who had the song Losing My Religion.
Oh, life is bigger. It's bigger.
Which was one of the most popular songs of the 90s, and U2, who focused on love and peace, who set the stage for other bands because it had a unified front.
What's a unified front?
A unified front is the music term used to include all the members of the band. Also, there was a band called Nirvana, which led somewhat of a cultic following, especially because of their iconic leader, singer Kurt Cobain. Nirvana led the subgenre of rock grunge metal. Grunge metal was a more grassroots type of street rock as opposed to mainstream rock, which was controlled by the monopolizing record companies. Nirvana produced songs such as Smells Like Teen Spirit, The grunge music was popular because it captured the feelings of teens, such as the state of manic depression that seems to afflict our society en masse. You should know about Kurt Cobain because he's a very influential musician of the time, and he led a generation of youth to rebel against the messed up society they felt their parents had created for them. However, at the same time, his messy, shotgun-to-the-head suicide betrayed the youth who saw him as their leader. There was great controversy over lyrics, especially after two Nevada youths shot themselves after listening to the music of Judas Priest, which was led to a court case in which Judas Priest was found not guilty.
Oh yeah, I remember learning about this in school. So, grunge metal bands like Nirvana were mainly mad about the fact that the federal government was more interested in foreign affairs than domestic affairs.
What's that on the ground?
Also, one of the most popular hard rock bands of the era was Aerosmith. Their hits Walk This Way, Angel, Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Dude Looks Like a Lady, Ragdoll,
Ragdoll, living in a movie. Hot tramp, daddy's little cutie. You're so fine, I never see you leaving by the back door. Man.
and Thunder were very popular because they featured loud music, lots of lights, and it was entertaining for America. And they even were asked to do the soundtrack for the movie Armageddon. One way that music changed was with the merging of some styles such as Aerosmith Run DMC rock rap song Walk This Way. Also, some other famous bands were Metallica, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins, and Bon Jovi. Heavy metal was heavy on guitar with a hint of hip-hop, and some styles of heavy metal were pro-satanist, such as Marilyn Manson.
Wait, so as a recap, who should I be targeting based off that information?
Alright, so basically you should go after the song Smells Like Teen Spirit, Losing My Religion, basically take out all of U2, get Kurt Cobain, all of REM, and Aerosmith. And we already discussed rap.
Wow, I might run out of bullets.
Be creative.
Haha, yeah, I can do that. I am the one.
Oh, also, you should be aware of some other less popular types of music that still a lot of people listen to. What people listen to for an evening of relaxed entertainment was classical music. Adults would go home, turn on the radio to relax. Even though attendance for classical concerts rose by 6 million in the 90s, the number of classical radio stations declined and many orchestras went into debt. This was a result of the National Endowment of the Arts' prohibition of awarding grants to defray operating costs. Basically, orchestras didn't get federal funding anymore. States became important in keeping orchestras afloat, and 44% of funds for orchestras came from the state. Because of economic frailty, orchestras began cultural community outreach programs to appeal to more people. They started trying to reach the younger generation by linking themselves with sports events and creating performing arts high schools.
Anything else I should know about?
Another influential wave of music was NSYNC and Britney Spears. NSYNC, influenced people's new fad of boy bands, which included many other bands that would follow. Britney Spears
Anything else I should know about?
Well, because of new developments in CD players like the Walkman, the ability for people to listen to music more of the time helped develop more individual taste for music and an increase in sales of compact discs. A device that seems like magic.
Okay, please tell me that's it. I feel like I can't take any more of this information in one sitting.
Well, one last thing. With the development of computers and such, techno music with its driving beats and loud bass became much more popular, especially in big loud clubs.
Wow, okay, that's got to be it, right?
Yes.
Sweet!
This is the end of your music training program. Good luck in your fight against the machines.
Whew.
Change your mind?
A little, I guess. What have you guys been up to?
I don't even remember.
Well, I think it's my turn, so let's just go. Someone, drag me in. Let's go.
I'll do it.
You got it, Trinity? Mouse, hit the keyboard.
Got it. Welcome to the film program. I'm a virtual representation of the mouse, and will be guiding you through the films of the 1990s.
Good. Let's get started quickly. We don't have a lot of time to waste.
Good. I'm laying a priority. The cinema of America in the 1990s was very diverse, to be honest, but there were several distinct trends of the era. Firstly, as caused by the crowded value gap that began with Vietnam and Watergate and grew up until now, people wanted to see a lot of political thrillers and movies about scandal and politics. Movies cast a lot of cynicism on the government and affairs we were and had been involved in with the past couple of decades.
Hold on. I'm thirsty. That's better.
Good examples of this were the movies Wag the Dog, Platoon, Primary Colors, and JFK, a movie about the Warren Commission and conspiracy behind the assassination of JFK in the 1960s. Amidst this cynical view of the world, there is one shining example of a straightforward look at history in Forrest Gump.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Forrest Gump shows the perspective of an average American as he witnesses the most famous events of the 60s and 70s with no bias or cynicism.
Sometimes a new perspective can be refreshing and insightful.
Bet you $5 I can make this in that trash can. Before you can. Ah! Oh.
For sure. Also, with the political movies came the political thriller, a relatively new type of thriller. Full of espionage and betrayal, in the end, the good guy always won, and I think that's what the American public wanted in a time of distrust towards the government. Knowing that in the end, good would always triumph over evil. The Jack Ryan movies and John Grisham novel adaptations are good examples of this. The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, In the Line of Fire, Enemy of the State, The Pelican Reef, and A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth!
Sounds like overall people were just fed up with the government.
Yes, well, especially one filmmaker, Oliver Stone, who had created many political movies in the 1990s, including the aforementioned JFK.
Wow, he seems pretty influential. It's like he really understood the social disconnect between the people and the government and wanted to show it.
Yes, you could say that. Now, along with political thrillers, the action thrillers stayed popular with iconic Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Face Off, Point Break, Speed, Braveheart.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Mission Impossible, The Rock, and Con Air all were very popular because of high amounts of special effects, humorous dialogue, and big action stars. These action movies also led to a rise in popularity of paintball and airsoft, fake shooting games. People wanted to act like the people on the big screen. The decade ended with The Sixth Sense, one of the greatest thrillers of all time.
I see dead people walking around like regular people. They don't know they're dead. Will you stay here until I fall asleep?
While some of the 80s filmmakers, like Steven Spielberg, with Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List, continued to control most of Hollywood, women and African-American filmmakers began to gain a higher status in the industry, with Catherine Bigelow's Point Break. Bigelow would later be the first female director to win Best Picture with The Hurt Locker in 2010. Wayne's World and When Harry Met Sally also were big successes made by women. while Malcolm X, the story of the title character, was made by an African American.
Wait, so blacks and women didn't have popular movies before this time?
Well, there have always been exceptions, but most of their movies did not get critical acclaim until this time period.
First one to finish this nondescript liquid wins.
Wait, so that's about it, right? Political thrillers, action thrillers, and new people groups started to make movies?
Not even close! The 90s was a time of revolution and technical boom for the movie industry. In 1997, a new, easier medium of playing movies at home was sold, the DVD. DVDs were smaller, shinier, and easier to use than big clunky VCRs, and America liked things streamlined. DVDs didn't have to be rewound, and they have easy-to-use menus. Also in 1997, The Titanic was released and became the highest-grossing movie of all time and included the very impressive visual effects work by director James Cameron, who also had made the biggest sequels and visual effects movies of the 1990s, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Aliens. In Terminator 2, he included metal-morphing robots. In Aliens, he created hundreds of slimy, dangerous beasts, and in The Titanic, he sunk a whole ship. Even into the future, Cameron would be a leader in visual effects like George Lucas before him. Also, the return of Disney led to the first computer-animated film, Toy Story.
Wow, with effects like those Americans could have made a world that looks like ours, the Matrix.
Yes, if they had been made a movie, it would have been marvelous.
Neo?
So, political thrillers, action thrillers, women, blacks, special effects, DVDs, James Cameron, Oliver Stone, and Toy Story?
It's time for a more serious note. In the 1980s, the country was rocked by the devastating new disease called AIDS. There was much discrimination towards people with AIDS, and in 1993, Tom Hanks starred in Philadelphia, a story of a gay man dismissed from his job due to having AIDS, and the case against his company he made with his homophobic lawyer.
Wow, that must have really hit home with Americans who suffered from discrimination because of that disease during that time period.
Yes. And now, something else that rocked the nation in the 1990s. Violence. Before the 90s, movies featured good guys like Rambo fighting oftentimes gorily for our country and some other noble cause. In the 90s, America entered the Gulf War, which inspired violence even more in movies. However, starting right away in 1991, with Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, movies portrayed a more realistic, gritty, unforgiving side of violence. Quentin Tarantino also made violent, shock and awe movies in the 1990s, including Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Jackie Brown, all of which were not censored and gave you the story for what it was. The worst of these movies, however, was Natural Born Killers. NBK was a satire on the fanaticism with violence in our media. However, it was taken by America as an extremely unnecessarily violent movie with no purpose for the bloodshed. Violence for the sake of violence. After many copycat murders and teenage murderers who claimed to have been motivated by the film, the studio was sued by some of the victims' families. Overall, this unflinching look at violence, sex, and profanity opened for future movies to do the same. Americans had become desensitized to those things in movies, and in the future, more and more suggestive content was allowed in lower and lower ratings.
Well, at least the movies were easy enough to understand, right? Sounds like straightforward action movies and maybe sometimes over-the-top violence, but overall uncomplicated storylines.
Sorry, you're wrong again. In the 90s, capers and other non-linear movies were gaining popularity. This is another trademark of Tarantino films. Not chronological, and often sometimes left the audience to make their own assumptions. These kinds of movies would gain popularity in the 21st century as well. Another form of surprise and confusion used to certain audiences was the twist ending. This plot device took everything in the audience thought was true and completely flipped it around. Misdirection early in the movie would lead to surprises at the end. Audiences had been watching movies since the 20s and 30s and were beginning to see patterns and be able to predict how movies would end. So twist endings were used in movies like Fight Club, The Usual Suspects, and Seven to keep audiences guessing. Also, many filmmakers look to making movies more self-aware. For example, in the horror parody movie Scream, the characters know the rules of surviving horror movies, as does the audience. The movie mocks its own genre, and at the same time comes up with new ways to terrify audiences. Filmmakers were forced to be creative, smart, and revolutionary to entertain these educated, experienced audiences.
Are you alright?
I should have brought a notebook. But I guess I will be able to remember your main points. AIDS, violence, uncensored sex, violence, and profanity, twist endings, Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Goodfellas, and other big budget studio executives that were the only people that would be successful during this time period.
I must say, you're wrong again there. My last topic was the rise of indie films. Many of these successful movies I mentioned were made with low budgets or really earned their place on the list of greatest movies ever after their box office debuts through word of mouth and cult followings. Americans had always been known to like homegrown movements and the underdog, which led to the success of these movies. Many of the Coen brothers' earlier movies were low-budget indie movies that gained popularity over time. Movies like Home Alone, Pretty Woman, Ghost, and Fight Club did not gain much popularity until after their releases. One of the greatest movies of all time, Shawshank Redemption, was a box office failure. However, through word of mouth, this story of hope and redemption in the 90s, America, filled with violence, pain, disconnect, rebellion, and hatred, was just what America needed.
Okay, I've got to go now. There isn't much time to lose. Thank you, Mouse.
This is the end of your film training. Good luck with the fight against the machines.
Good. Let's get started right away.
Now that we all know a little bit more about our respective subjects, we can go over the plan in more detail.
Good. Let's get started right away.
So what's the plan exactly?
We're going to enter the Matrix and take out the most important files that the machines have. Trinity, your main target will be the Metropolitan Art Museum. Collect the art you see as most important, the influential artists you see as potential prodigies for the art future.
Why just collect?
We'll get to that. Morpheus, you need to collect the most important films, scripts, whatever you see as necessary to take out the most influential directors, screenwriters, actors, or anyone as you see fit. It's your call. Your best bet would probably be Hollywood. I will collect influential records, music contracts, and take out the most creative and inspiring musicians who could possibly create music that machines could control and further fool people into believing the Matrix is real. Fortunately, there is a musicians convention in Nashville, Tennessee.
Why are we murdering so many people?
The end justifies the means. Plus, they're living a lie in the Matrix anyways. We're doing them a favor. We're freeing their minds.
So, wait, isn't the mission to destroy the files, not just collect them?
After you take out the human targets, we will rendezvous at room 303 in the heart of the City Hotel. From there, we will pile up all the scripts, records, paintings, screenplays, movies, and other non-human targets, and then burn them, leaving no evidence of them for the machines to use.
How long before the rendezvous?
Upon entering the Matrix, you will have 1 day to meet at the hotel. Mouse will have a phone set up to get us out of the Matrix.
Sounds like a plan.
Good. Let's get started right away.
Alright, so rendezvous, heart of the city, room 303.
Exactly, but speed is vital, because the machines will realize that we have infiltrated its depths as soon as we're there, and they will send agents.
Yes, and if you see an agent, run as fast as you can. Do not try to fight them. Except for you, Neo. You're the one.
Alright, the system's up and running. Let's get you guys in and delete those files.
We need guns.
Welcome to the Conservative Arts Museum. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'd love to fill you in about backgrounds of the... Hey! Don't touch! That is our one rule at the Conservative Arts Museum. Like I said, if you have any questions about the background or history of paintings, I would love to answer them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let you know if I have any questions.
Alright. Don't touch. One rule.
Okay.
Don't touch.
What are you doing? I am Gursky. This is my work.
This is my work.
Hello, I am the curator of the... Hey! Don't take that!
Pocahontas, how can I twist this to make it seem original and make billions of dollars off of it? Oh, I've got it! Special effects. Lots of flowers, blue people, really tall. You, be in my movie!
I've been sent from the future to kill you.
What's going on? Is this a joke?
No, I do not joke.
No, what?
Shut up!
I'll give you anything you want. I made Titanic.
You're about to sink.
Trinity, I found where Nirvana's practicing.
So it's a good run through.
What do you want to play now, Kurt?
Let's hit Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Sounds good.
Alright, count us off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
How do you want to die, in the head or in the chest? You want to get shot again, I see.
No.
Shawshank Redemption. Perfect. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, these are all of Quentin Tarantino's scripts. All right together. Perfect. But where are the actual directors? Where are they? Quentin Tarantino, Frank Darabont.
I found Adam Clayton, the guitarist for U2, and he's gonna tell me where Bono is.
I don't know, I swear.
You're a guitarist. How are you gonna play without your fingers?
I don't know where he is.
Tell me where he is.
I promise.
I know you know where he is.
Please.
You're his band member.
Don't.
Do you want me to?
No,
How are you gonna be able to play guitar?
I don't know. No. Please.
Tell me where he is. Tell me where he is.
I don't know.
Ah!
Please, stop. I'll do anything.
Tell me where he is.
No,
That's all you have to do.
I don't know.
Now you're gonna play guitar now.
Please, please, stop it.
Tell me where he is.
No.
I'm gonna start at the stumps.
Okay, he's in the practice room.
The practice room.
Downstairs.
Okay.
Downstairs.
You've made a dog very happy. Put the guitar down and get on the ground.
Calm down. It's gonna be okay. I don't know what your deal is. I don't know who you
I
are.
finally found you, Bono.
I don't know who you
This
are.
is how it ends. The gun's out. Well, Mouse said be creative. We're going outside. Just open the door. I don't want to get this black all bloody. It's basically my trademark. Sorry. All right, Bono. Say goodbye to the fans.
Wait, Bono? With the guitar? The Oracle is not gonna like that, Neo. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta kill this Cindy Sherman lady. Yeah, the one with the creepy dolls. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
This is going to be my best doll ever.
Trinity, I'm getting the rest of the CDs.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Perfect. 2 Grandmaster Flash albums and a Vanilla Ice album.
What are you doing?
Who are you? I'm Martin Scorsese. I'm writing Goodfellas.
Are these yours?
Yeah, why?
Come with me.
What are you doing?
Come with me. Go outside.
My back! I'm a cripple, I tell you!
Complicating on today. What is called the
Trinity, I finally got the CDs.
Hey Neo. Yeah, I lost them. At the bonfire? Got it.
Trinity, I lost the agent. Meet me at the bonfire. Hey. They never answer my calls. Burn these files.
And this art.
Ah,
Wait, where's Morpheus?
I thought you called him.
I thought you called him.
That guy has no friends.
Oh wait, there he is.
Why is he walking through the woods?
No one called.
He is.
Someone's having a bad day.
Come on, Morpheus, you gotta burn them.
I almost got killed like 3 times.
I think agents are following all of us.
There's a bear in those woods.
Probably an agent. Hurry up.
Come on, Morpheus.
Movies? Alright.
Well, we did the mission. Where's the phone?
Phone. Room 303. Let's go.
Hurry, the agents are coming.
Please don't shoot! Don't shoot! Please!
Trinity! She's dead! Is there any way
No, Neo. The body cannot live without the mind. What happened to you was a rare exception.
Trinity!
Let's get her outside.
Trinity's alive. It was just a dream, remember?
I'm gonna get wet! Hey!
Now it's going to swim. A combination of condoms, washers, and fishing wire.
That's actually really good. Solid.
Nice and firm.
I'm kidding. So is Andy gonna be okay?
Yeah, no, I'm catching all of it.
CD's gonna go get hit by a car. Andy's probably texting Tessa because she just left like 50 seconds ago.
This is the priceless moment.
Off now.
Get out and I'll help you with this video project. We're creating memories that we will never forget. Here, come.
Not my.
I'm giving this to Mrs. Wilson.
Not that.
Here, sure.
That's my that.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
I'll say it's mine. No. I can't
Take
give
another one.
page.
You can take another page.
Yeah, you can. Take that one. Okay. Take.
Yes, this is perfect.
The practice test burns. Look at all those X's through